Well, there you go, Glenn. The hotline, your phone is lighting up, and it's not like I know here at the restaurant we don't have those little beepers when your food is ready. So that must be your phone lighting up. Who is it?
Well, it's a hotline. It's our guest this week, and it ties into what we've been talking about for this weekend and your match coming up on Friday up in Pittsfield, Massachusetts. He is a former two-time WWE Intercontinental Champion, a three-time WWE Tag Team Champion, three-time World Tag Team Champion, a two-time Slammy Award winner, but more importantly, he is the current Northeast Wrestling Heavyweight Champion and the Ring of Honor World Champion. Both those titles will be on the line Friday in your match against this man, Jerry the King Lawler. He is Cody Rhodes. Cody, thank you for joining the program.
Oh, no, thank you guys. And what a intro there. What a myriad of accomplishments. But the reality is all those things, I'm still not the king. I'm still not the king, you know? So you guys
you say that like with envy. That's not the case. I'm certainly not with all those championships and accolades that we just read off there, Cody. I mean, you've had a very, very impressive career so far.
Sir. Thank you, sir. And no, yes, it's. I think you're the only king. No one could ever take that.
Well, I appreciate that. But part of that, I think.
Go ahead.
Well, I just think part of that reputation comes from the fact that I've been around so long. I've outlasted most of the other kings. That's the reason I'm the only one.
Absolutely. Question. This is I of all things I thought, hey, I'm going to be speaking with the king. I'm going to be speaking with Jerry Lawler. Do you still have the Batmobile?
I do still have the Batmobile. As a matter of fact, from Glenn, I'm going to have to bring the Batmobile over here to the restaurant one day when we come and do the show. But yeah, I have the Batmobile at home in my I call it my man bat cave. It's just a renovated garage, but yeah, I have the Batmobile there.
See that's speaking of envy. That's something, man. When you would pull that in there in Memphis at those shows, I wanted to hop in that thing and drive away. That thing's incredible, man.
Yeah, I have a lot of fun with it. We've got Memphis Comic Con coming up later on this month, and I'm going to have it over there. There's another guy that has the Tim Burton Batmobile here in Memphis that connected with St. Jude Hospital. Actually purchased a Tim Burton Batmobile, so we're gonna have the dueling Batmobiles at the Memphis Comic Con coming up here. It's actually September 16th and 17th. So I love to get it out like that, and have people fawn over that sort of stuff.
But Jerry,
that's incredible. Wow.
Now, Jerry, I have to, you might be in the Batmobile up here, but next week, as we record the show, you might be bringing 2 new title belts to the restaurant here in Memphis with your match with Cody on Friday for both the new heavyweight champion and Ring of Honor champion. It'd be nice to bring some gold to the restaurant.
Yeah, I could. If that's the case, if I have them in my possession, I'll definitely bring them here next week for the recording of our podcast. I just want to say no, look, not trying to get off on the wrong foot here, Cody, but I got to say, I'm a little bit surprised with your demeanor here on the phone. You're giving me all of these compliments, and you're talking about my Batmobile. The last time we saw each other in passing at one of Michael Lombardi's shows up in the NEW, you weren't so complimentary then. It was like it's sort of like a backhanded, almost an insult, the way you laughed at me when I just questioned you about the championship match coming up.
You know how it's when you get backstage and right before you're out there under the lights, and in the case of Northeast Wrestling, under the stars. There's a whole new bravado. There's a whole new swagger that comes into play. Obviously, Jerry, you have been a huge part of my family's history. You've had contests not only with my brother, but with my father, the American Dream Legendary Contest. And in this case, this is a hell of a statistic. So yes, I am in a good mood, and yes, I love Jerry the King Lawler because you're going to be able to say you wrestled Dusty. You're going to be able to say you wrestled Gold Dusty. You're going to be able to say you wrestled me. You will not, however, be able to say that you won either the ROH World Championship or the Northeast Wrestling Heavyweight Championship. However, time. I'll just I won't run my mouth in regards to that. That's for everyone to come and see the match in Pittsfield, Mass. And in this conversation alone, in the short span we've been talking, you have said Memphis. Like, I don't know if the count, we should get Memphis count. You said it maybe 23, 30 times. I have been everywhere. King, I've been everywhere. I was just in Japan. I had to go straight from 3 shows for New Japan Pro Wrestling. I had to go to the Ring of Honor tour in the UK, Edinburgh, Liverpool, London. How do you get away with this? How are you just always in Memphis?
Well, this is where I live. I own a home here in Memphis. This is my hometown. I own this barbecue restaurant that Glenn and I are eating in right now and recording in out here on Germantown Road. I own a club down on world famous historic Beale Street, right next to B.B. King's Club on Beale Street here in Memphis. And
wow.
And you know what? Well, here's the deal. And this is reminiscent of your dad. I remember all the times that Dusty and I would have run-ins. That was a big beef of his. He would say, I'm Dusty Rhodes. I'm the American Dream, and I'm traveling all over the world. And the King just stays home in Memphis. He always accused me of being a big fish in a small pond and that sort of thing.
No.
But you know what? Well, here's the deal. I mean, I think that the reason I like to hang around here now is because I've accomplished what most guys work all their lives to accomplish, and that's to be able to, be successly financially able to stay at home instead of having.
Yeah.
Cody, I think you've been in the business long enough to know that it's fun to see England for the first time. It's fun to see Japan and all of these world cities and everything. But after a while, the traveling to and from these cities is not fun, and
Sure.
it's not, is it? Oh, it's not fun. So that's why I've gotten to where I don't have to do that kind of traveling anymore.
No, it's not. And the after one tour, you know this better than anybody. After like one tour, you're all of a sudden you become grizzled. I feel. I was on the bus on this past tour telling everybody, come on, and just complaining about this and that. You're absolutely right. The travel is arduous and not all that exciting. But I'm trying to make the most of it. The ROH World title is the first recognized world championship that I ever won. So I'm trying to make it worth its namesake and travel the world. And I need to get Memphis in my sights. I need to come down not only to see. I haven't been in Memphis on this whole post WWE loop. I got to try the restaurant.
Yeah, that would be awesome. And I think you'll really like it. Your dad, though, when Dusty came to Memphis, he didn't have pleasant experiences. He
No?
Well, I take it back. One time we had a match where, and this is one of the most memorable matches that I ever remember being in Memphis, and I had a lot of great ones. But I actually teamed up with your dad with Dusty and Magnum TA to go against Arn and Ole Anderson and Tully Blanchard right here in Memphis at the Mid-South Coliseum.
And I'm sure you guys won. No, undoubtedly.
Well, not only did we win, Cody, but I can vividly remember, I have the pictures to prove it. I was the only guy in that match that wasn't bleeding at the end.
Yeah, that's a name. When you name that list, that's a lot of guys bleeding on a regular basis. But what a trio! You guys should have taken that act on the road. Maybe 6-man champions, Magnum, Dream, and you. That place must have been rocking. Any footage? Any footage of this?
Yeah, I think there is some footage, and I got some really good pictures that as a matter of fact, I'll tweet those pictures out while this episode is up on the air this week.
Yeah, I'd love to see that, man. I imagine the crowd so happy, so different too. The three of you guys, so different.
Well, it is. It was a totally different thing. And also we had, I think, on that same night, This was sort of like a combination, a co-production of our Memphis wrestling company and the NWA guys, and we had the NWA World Champion, which was Ric Flair at the time. Ric Flair was on the card. I think he wrestled the old WWE Hall of Famer Coco Beware, and but that was before he was the Birdman. But it was a big night of action there in Memphis.
Absolutely, man. That sounds great.
Now let me ask you. I really wanted to ask you a couple of questions about Friday night.
Sure.
And it's almost the same question that I asked you in passing when I found out we were going to have the match. I mean, this was this match just sort of happened organically in the fact that somebody asked you somewhere, is there anybody that you kind of really haven't wrestled that you wanted to wrestle, and you threw my name out there, and I was pleasantly surprised and flattered and all of that sort of stuff. And then next thing you know, when Michael Lombardi heard that, when he jumped with both feet on that, and he booked the match. And
he smelled blood, man. He smelled blood. He knew.
He's the old shark in the waters there. So, but what did he? Was he the guy that booked it a championship match, or did you just sort of throw that in there? Because that's what I asked you one time. I had this situation with Ric Flair in Memphis where he came into Memphis not to wrestle me. He wasn't really originally booked to wrestle me. He was just coming in to wrestle on TV. And he and I had a confrontation. We talked a little bit, and we wound up changing the match to where he wrestled against me, and then we changed it into it was a world championship match. But we found out later on that Rick, just because of his overenthusiasm, he got a little upset and got a little flustered, and he said, yeah, this will be a title match. But then we found out later that he really didn't have the authority to make that title match, even though he was the champion. And I just wanted to make sure that that wasn't the case this Friday night.
Well, gosh, I don't want to provide a complicated answer to a simple question. I don't think that's the case Friday night, whereas the Northeast Wrestling title is on the line because it's a Northeast Wrestling event.
Okay.
And the Ring of Honor World title, Ring of Honor hates the fact that I have genuinely remained a free agent. I did not sign a contract with them. I signed on for various dates, and I have many dates left with them. I really like Ring of Honor, but I'm not going to be exclusive anywhere. I did exclusive, so
yes,
they hate the fact that I'm not a free agent, but it is my title. And they haven't had any issues so far with me and several impromptu world title matches. This should be, I feel they won't have an issue here. So no, I don't think we'll have a Ric Flair like situation on our hands when it comes to the Ring of Honor World title. Definitely not the Northeast title. I think it's a pretty cut and dry situation. The titles are on the line, and you're damn right. It happened organically because I wanted it to happen organically. Yeah, it's Jerry the King Lawler. I mean, I'm sure you hear it every day. You got a restaurant there, and you're the man. And speaking of our,
okay, that being said, let me ask you real quick then. Hypothetically,
sure.
What would happen if Friday night somehow, by some quirk of fate or twist of fate or something, I don't know what if something out of the blue happened and I won? I mean, I'm under contract at WWE. Are the Ring of Honor people going to be upset with you? Are they going to be upset with me? What'll happen there?
Maybe they'll be upset with both of us. Oh no! Gosh.
I would think so.
Maybe it'd be like the situation. Obviously, I don't know the full details other than what you once told me in regards to the AWA situation. Maybe if you did become Ring of Honor World Champion, all of a sudden you'd get a big fat booking sheet with all these shows you had to make and get all these people you have to go wrestle. I don't know. I honestly don't want to think about it. That's a bad hypothetical for me. It may even be a bad hypothetical for you. We could be in trouble for this match alone. Yeah.
You're right.
For both of you. I mean, this match is Friday. And you know what, Jerry? I know you're going to be, you're very humble, but I'm going to say when Jerry pulls the strap down on you, Cody, and delivers the pile driver and takes the title away from you, Raw,
Wow.
WWE Monday Night Raw is in Memphis, Tennessee this coming Monday. And we all know Jerry the King Lawler makes appearances when Raw comes to Memphis. If you're watching Raw, Cody, knowing that you lost to Jerry the King Lawler, what would Ring of Honor think if Jerry Lawler shows up on Monday Night Raw for an appearance backstage or even comes out to do commentary and he has that Ring of Honor title over his shoulder?
I love the speculation. And I'm gonna go ahead and stop you right where you started. 'Cause you're damn right. Once Jerry pulls that strap down, it's a game-changing moment. The strategy here, look on this whole thing, is he can't let him ever pull that strap down. Get to that moment that you just described, and then everything in the world should be whole. I don't. The speculation, I appreciate it. The fallout is enormous, and who knows? Who knows? Hell, maybe I'd have to come to Raw in Memphis to get it back. I don't know. This is a world where so many streams are being crossed as of late. There's more genuine free agents. There's less contracts. There's more outside WWE merchandise in the crowds. It's a wild time to be a wrestler, and even wilder time to be a wrestling fan. So I will not partake in the speculation. I'm just gonna pause it right on that moment where you said he pulls the strap down, because I've seen many a guy that's the end of it. Lights out, start the Busters. The King is he's taking the evening, so I'm trying to avoid that ever happening.
I think I'll just pull my strap down at the opening bell.
Damn it.
And then look across, and there's Cody Rhodes be saying, "Damn it."
I'll have to roll out, man.
Cody, you talk about it's a lot of different streams are being crossed, and you're a perfect example of a guy leaving the machine of WWE and moving on to greener pastures and enjoying life and traveling and becoming Ring of Honor World Champion, but also having your own schedule, having your own merch, doing what you want. I would say you're enjoying life and you're a happy man.
Yeah, no, this is the happiest I've ever been in my career. It's just been so rewarding just to get out there and do my own schedule. And I was able to find myself, places that I really enjoyed. Northeast Wrestling, for example, where this match with Jerry and myself is, I've actually wrestled there more than anywhere else, more than Ring of Honor even. There's places like that I've been able to go to and be more on a grassroots level and connect with the fans. For so long, I was in the ring, and there's just a crowd that was just, essentially one big spotlight, and you can't see and feel and connect with those folks so much on the bigger WWE events. This has given me an opportunity to get on the ground and meet and greet and just be closer with them, which is what I wanted. And it's just been, like you said, I'm very much a happy man. It's a cool time.
Well, let me tell you this. Michael O'Brien will cut that short for you because his meet and greets are about 4 hours long.
Yeah, Mike, he loves to get every fan, give them their chance. With me, Mike has me do the meet and greets before and after. Mike gets everybody in, which obviously I admire looking at him as a promoter because you meet all the fans, but he also is the one who booked my flight at 6 a.m. the next morning, so you're just come on, Mike. We both.
Yeah, me too.
I don't know if the world probably doesn't know this at all, but Mike Lombardi, who runs Northeast Wrestling, was a booking agent, kind of a manager for my dad. He knows Jerry, obviously incredibly well. Mike always loved Jerry just a little bit more than Dusty. And as a kid, I knew that.
Well, that's because
give him a hard time.
I introduced. Me and Michael Lombardi came first, and then I introduced Michael, or he met your dad through me. So I had the longevity there. I knew Michael first. That's why I think it was a little bit of a loyalty thing.
You were the first, yeah. No, even though it trickles down a generation, because even with me, if you ever call him or if you text him, right away. Hey, I got to get back to you. I got to get back to you. It's King on the other line. Or hey, hold on 1 second. So, yeah, I know my place there.
No, no, but he does love it when we talk about him on the podcast, and it's all.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't say anything bad, and you know this too. Every show I've ever worked for Michael Lombardi and Northeast Wrestling has been first class. I mean, first, just a top of the door type show, and hey, it's good money. He always draws fantastic crowds, and I think it goes back to like what you were talking about, Cody, and the fact that the meet and greets, he takes care of the fans. I mean, and not knocking WWE. They have meet and greets. I just saw, Triple H and Stephanie did one at the Barclays Center before SummerSlam. But it's difficult. Those shows are so big, and there are so many people there. It would be impossible to try to do a meet and greet like they do it, like Michael Lombardi does, because literally, if you want, you could get a chance to say hi to every fan that comes to one of those shows. There, but that would just be impossible in WWE. But it is a cool thing that you get to meet those people that come to the shows.
Yeah, and the diversity of like matchups and talents and wrestlers and superstars and legends that Northeast Wrestling brings in. I wrestled for the Northeast Wrestling title. I wrestled Adam Cole, who just debuted for NXT, and I've also got a Ricochet from Lucha Underground, and the same weekend I'll wrestle Rey Mysterio, which is a WrestleMania rematch, and Jared the King Lawler, WWE Hall of Famer. Like the diversity, the dichotomy between matchups, and how much that Northeast Wrestling brings in. That's why I feel like there's always a boatload of people at these events, because more than any promotion I've worked on my post WWE run, Mike has the most diverse card. There's everyone from, the older fan to the brand new youngsters coming for the first time. Yeah,
he really does do that. He does that well. He's got something for everybody. Yeah, and you're mentioning the guys like that. The guys that you're wrestling against Rey Mysterio this upcoming week, and I go back and remember it was on one of Michael O'Brien's shows. I wrestled against Kevin Owens in a pile driver versus pile driver match the night before he started with WWE. I mean, this is his last match before he started with WWE. I'm wrestling Kevin Owens at one of Michael O'Brien's shows. I say O'Brien, Michael Lombardi. I'm sorry. I get mad. He gets mad when I call him O'Brien.
Yeah, he does,
Michael Lombardi.
But, that's crazy, but that's exactly what I'm talking about. He gets something for everybody.
One match that sticks out from from Northeast Wrestling, watching here in Cleveland, was, Cody, your match with Kurt Angle in a cage, and you a packed gymnasium. I mean, I've been to indie shows where a couple rows of the gym is are sold out and the ringside sold out, but this was a jam-packed gymnasium, and you have Cody Rhodes facing off against Kurt Angle in a steel cage. I mean, you don't see those type of matches in WWE, let alone the indie scene.
Yeah, no, it's that's why Northeast Wrestling is kind of, in my opinion, isn't necessarily an indie, as much as it's its own smaller brand. And for the reasons you said, they fill them up, and they do a great job. Like Jerry and I are talking about, you get to meet every fan, and Kurt Angle, we wrestled in a cage, and then a few weeks later he's showing up on Monday Night Raw. There seems to be an element of good luck about Northeast Wrestling. If you wrestle there, like the next thing you know, you're in one of the major companies. That's wild. Yeah.
And another guy that's on the show with us is Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. I mean, he pulls out these guys that that the WWE fans don't get a chance to see very often anymore, and would love to see. And he's Michael puts a lot of these guys on shows, and I think that's why. I don't remember going to a Northeast Wrestling show that wasn't sold out, really.
Yeah, no, they do a great job. The Steamer's going to be there. I love it. I love it.
Chris Jericho is going to be there, I think, on Sunday for a meet and greet.
Yep.
Not wrestling, but for a meet and greet. So you have Chris Jericho, who is was currently on the WWE roster too, making an appearance. So a lot of big stars. But Jerry, am I allowed to put my Michael Cole journalistic hat on for a second here?
Oh gosh, will it fit that big head of yours?
Now, Cody, so you go as Cody on the road and Ring of Honor and whatnot, but Is there
Yeah.
something behind the scenes going on with the Cody Rhodes name and who owns that or whatnot?
Not particularly. Like, it's a very simple matter of if I want to ask for my last name, if I want to ask for Cody Rhodes back to perform under it. I perform under at non-televised events. There's no secret to the fans. That's my last name. So we don't insult them by saying something else. But when it comes to television, that's WWE's intellectual property. And I am wholeheartedly sure that if I was to ask them, hey, can I go by Rhodes, they would have no problem. But I have told a few people this, and I genuinely mean it, and I'll tell you both. I don't mind going by just Cody. I actually think there's something kind of cool about it, especially in New Japan Pro Wrestling or in Ring of Honor. I had my whole career to get the rub from my father, and obviously I'll get it every day because people are aware he is my father. But I like it. I think if there's something about this funny singular name that I like trying to push that. I see, like, right now my Bullet Club shirt is available at Hot Topics, which is this really great deal where my shirt is on shelves right next to WWE shirts, and when I see just my name, that's the one thing that's really mine. And I like it. I could go and try to seek out sympathy for, I can't use the name, but I know WWE would let me if I wanted to. But right now I like just being Cody.
It worked for Cher and Madonna, so what the heck?
Yeah, that's a long way to go. I mean, they did pretty well for themselves, but I'll try.
Well, you know what? Here's a question that I got for you, because there's a similar situation in my family that you've lived through, but on the different ends. In other words, of course, you and your brother Dustin, you guys, of course, come from a famous wrestling father. As big a name as there is in the business. Your dad, Dusty, and everything. In my situation, I had a son that's still wrestling. Brian Christopher, and
sure.
Early on, I think we came to the conclusion early on when he first started to almost not label him or not burden him with the last name of Lawler. Right. and then when he went to the WWE, he went as Grandmaster Sexay and Brian Christopher and never really used the name Lawler, because I felt like that it would be more of a hindrance to him than like almost people expecting him to fill his dad's shoes or something like that. Sure. And it would put more pressure on him. Was that the case with you guys? Did you feel a lot more pressure because Dusty was your dad?
Well, I think in my case, I did not feel a lot of pressure to fill his shoes because so much time had passed.
Right.
Between the glory days, the prime of his career, and my debut on WWE television in 2007, so much time had passed. However, my brother, who is more synonymous with Gold Dust for Gold Dust than Dustin Rhodes, I think there was definitely that pressure, that sense of, okay, if you're Dusty's son, show me. I want to see Dusty in you, And boy, I think it made it incredibly difficult for Dustin, who did look a lot like my dad too. The bleach blonde hair, they shared a lot of physical similarities. So people wanted, hey man, where's the lispy rhyme? Where's the soul? They wanted that from Dustin, and that's not who Dustin is. So I think he had a much more difficult time. Whereas with me, so much time had passed, and I don't really look anything like my dad. That people. It was almost, it was, I'd say, it was definitely easier for me to be able to be his son without, an ungodly amount of pressure like you're talking about that your son had as well, because there was, you guys, he debuted, sooner to your career, I guess.
Right. Yeah. and you're right about the fact I had not even thought about it that much. It is the fans that put that pressure there. Because just like you said, it's the fans that are thinking, come on, let me see your dad in you. Let me see, let me see you do what your dad did. And I didn't come from a wrestling fan. Nobody in my family before me had anything to do with the wrestling business. So I never felt that. But I always felt bad for Brian in the fact that I know that I felt like that pressure was there. He never talked about it and he never complained about it or anything. But I just feel like it was always there,
Yeah, no, for sure. It's there's so many pros to being a second generation or a third generation star. There's a lot of pros. It's real easy to get a job. It's real easy to break some rules and such like that. However, the cons are very, very prominent too. The fact that you're being compared to, now this is the most success I've had in my career where I'm at right now, and now. With that success, I've seen the most amount of comparisons being drawn. Well, this is where he stacks up against his brother, and what do you think? I've never. The more success, the more it's something that you just have to deal with. I always try to tell fans like, hey, the thing I love about my family is on paper. If you're flipping through like a book of family, everyone's really different and everyone offers something really different. It's very, I don't like to go out there and do the flip flop and fly and do a bad impersonation of the American dream because, no one did it better than him, for sure. And same with Dustin. I like to steal these little innuendos and little nuances and things that they did, and they can act as fan service. But the goal for me is to be me. And that's what my dad would have wanted, to be me. When the Ring of Honor World title and all that happened, there were so many, 31 years since Rhodes has won a world title, and there were so many times that I wanted to say, for Dusty and this and that. But I know, knowing him, he would have hated that. He wanted me to just be me. He wanted me to just do me. That was the coolest thing about him as a father is when he became a fan of my stuff. He was a fan of my stuff. He wasn't trying for me ever to do anything like he did. He wanted me to do it my way, and he was so good at being not only my predecessor in the industry, but just a really good dad about it. So supportive.
Well, that is awesome, and it almost makes me feel bad now listening to you. It almost makes me feel bad, Cody, to beat you Friday night.
Oh God, we're back. We're back to this. We're back. Well, I guess all we can do is wait. All we can do is wait. Like we said. We might be in big trouble either way.
Well, Cody, I know your time is valuable. You just got off a big tour, and you're gonna need the rest come Friday night. So we're gonna let you go.
Sure.
But any final, maybe 3 words or any final thoughts you want to express?
I know what we're looking for here. I know. Well, hopefully you have the means to censor it. I did get my first cease and desist from WWE, and that's very genuine on being the elite. But I'll go ahead and hit you with one closing thought, and that is the revival. And other than that, I had a great time talking to both of you, and I can't wait till Friday.
Awesome. All right, Cody, thank you very much for being on here. And I want you to make me one promise that you'll come back on even if I beat you Friday.
Regardless of the outcome of Friday, I will absolutely return, and I would love to come to the restaurant. I've heard great things about it.
Awesome. And I'll give you a ride in the Batmobile down here in Memphis.
That'd make my day.
All right. Thanks, Cody. I'll see you Friday.
Guys. See you Friday. Thank you.
Thanks, Cody. Appreciate it.